This is everything I know so far about spirituality, right? Simplified. Now, I usually wear glasses. However, you can't see my eyes due to the glare. So I just decided to take them off so we can be a little bit more personal, right? And you can see that I'm not a robot and I'm an actual real person because you can see my eyes. All right, so just keep in mind that I am blind as I'm trying to look at the screen and explain this, but I just think it'd be better for y'all. First, right, we got the three major dimensions, right? It's important for me to explain this to you because these are the three major dimensions in which us humans operate in. So first we have the third dimension. Now you should already know this one. This is the physical and material realm. You know, it got a lot of limitations, illusions. It's built off a lot of lower frequencies, right? It's based off our five senses, right? You know, us being born, us being here, us being alive, right? That's the third dimension. Everything that we got to deal with within is, you know, go to work, make money, deal with all of the BS within social media. You know, this is all the third dimensional stuff. Materials, you know. I want to explain this, the surface, by the way, all right, and look at this inverse. So typically anything that's below the line will be below the surface. However, we're going to inverse this. So this will be technically above the surface. And then everything that is above this will be below the surface. All right, cool. So we got the fourth dimension. This is your manifestor. This is your creator. This is your mind power. This is your awareness. This is your focus, right? You know, this is your inner verse. So whatever your fourth dimension, whatever your mind is focused on, that is taking over your universe, right? We're going to dive big into thoughts, beliefs, and everything within this. But I do want to just keep it simple. So yeah, this is your beliefs, your awareness, your imagination, your visualization. This is also how you astral travel. This is talking about your conscious and your subconscious mind when you go to sleep. You know, this is where you at. You within the fourth dimension, right? This is your energetic bridge, right? So it's really not a dimension in which you dwell on. It's more so of a tether to the other dimensions. It's the way that your mind, your consciousness can tether to other dimensions, right? So technically, a lot of us, we walk around and we take in a lot of external stimuli from what's going on within the third dimension, right? So technically, for a lot of us, we reside within the third dimension using our mind, our energetic bridge, because we're focused so much on the material realm. So then we have the fifth dimension. This is the spiritual realm. This is your energetic body. This is the third eye. This is the chakras, you know, your emotions, energy and motion, basically. This is your direct connection to the universe, to the divine, infinite intelligence, as well as your higher self. Your higher self is basically, they call you can say it's your oversoul, right? Your higher self is basically just the part of you that knows more. So these are the three major dimensions. Now keep in mind, I got right here the surface, right? This is technically above the surface, right? Because we got an inverse. So the third dimension is above the surface. This is why when you go to sleep, you are below the surface, right? So you are in the fourth dimension as well as the fifth dimension when you are asleep. All right, you are in your subconscious mind. You're also astral traveling at the same time. Not every time you go to sleep, right, you having dreams. Sometimes when you go to sleep, you astral traveling. When you go to sleep, you are below the surface. When you wake up, you come above the surface, right, which is within the physical and material realm. All right, now this physical and material realm is illusionary, but it's very real. It's very real in a sense of the dimension that it lies in. And I got these pictures here. Obviously, the third dimension is, you know, the person, the body. The fourth dimension, obviously, is the mind. And then the fifth dimension lies within the heart. Your heart is a big regulator, right? You can say your heart and your nervous system, but I like to think about it as within the heart on your true self. And these also harbor your emotions. So this portion right here, right? This is what I want to break down as far as separating your outer world from your inner world. So in the middle here, we have this line, and then we have the body. If you turn to the side, so imagine yourself laying down, right? And it's this line that splits you. The front half of your body is third dimensional, right? That's facing the outer world. That's taking in everything that you see. Now, the back end of you, all right, the back side of you, this is where, and I got this arrow here to show you that this is where emotions, this is where the spiritual world is projecting through to you. Like it's projecting through the back of you. And this is where your inner world lies and your outer world lies on the front facing side of you, obviously. The way I want to explain this to you is like you split down this, like if you face to the side and somebody like took and split you in half, this is where you can feel the differences and the dimensions of which you exist on. So God and the spiritual realm in the universe, right? They experience life through you, through the back of you. It's kind of like you a puppet, right? But that's really how it happens, through the back of you, and projects forward to the front facing side of you, right? So whenever we focus on the back of ourselves, right, where our chakras lie, where our deep subconscious lie within the back of our head, this is all the spiritual side of things. This is all the unseen side of things, right? This is where you can experience a lot of these different, emotions and vibrations and feelings. The front facing side of you obviously is more so one that's dealing with the two eyes and the senses and seeing what's all around you within this physical realm. The physical, which is surface level. I got this X here because it's like, the way I want to explain this is to not be so much within the physical realm and to more so be within the spiritual realm, or be within truth and a realm of all possibilities, because that is truly where you come from. That is your remembrance. Right? When you come here to the surface level, we choose to forget. Now I got hell right here, right? Within the 3D, the third dimension, because technically that is what this is, right? We got to deal with a lot of fear. We got to deal with a lot of worry, lack, just a lot of lower frequencies, attachments, right? We deal with, the need to try to get and do and achieve things. All of this is physical surface level shit. And that's basically your outer world. Our inner world, though, and where we come from, is no trying to achieve, do, or get anything like that. We are already everything. That's the concept within this esoteric spirituality beliefs. We are already everything. So when you're able to tap back into your spiritual self, you will see that you're already immortal. You cannot be destroyed. Only the physical body can be destroyed. You are already abundant because you are everything. Energy is everything, which means you are everything, right? Peace, safety, love, compassion, joy, right? Acceptance, centeredness. All of these things, understanding is the biggest one to remembering your spiritual side, your spiritual self. And it's very important to remember your spiritual self so you don't get too lost in all of the physical world BS. Because the truth is, if you're getting so lost in all of the physical world BS, you're not going to have control over your mind. Your mind is the fourth dimension, right? The way you can control your mind is by pulling it to a place that is more centered and peaceful in truth. In the truth of everything and who you are and where you come from. The remembrance is more than just thinking, oh, we in a slave world, oh, we in hell, or anything like that. Now, remembrance is essentially bringing your whole body and your whole consciousness back centered to what you were before this, as you still live within a physical realm. That way you have better control over your life within a physical realm. So yes, the spiritual world, which is below the surface, this is a 5D, is the realm of all possibilities. So you're not lacking anything, technically. You're really not lacking anything. Like, everything that you think you came here and that you lacking is all illusion. And it's illusion kind of based on society and what society tell you that you should have, what you should be. Now, don't get me wrong. It's things that we do want. It's things that we do understand. Hey, if I have more of this thing, it will make me happier. If I have more of this thing, it will bring me out of a survival mindset. But we want to take as much power back as we can, because there's only so many things that you do have control over within this physical realm, within this existence, right? We are still within the bounds of the 3D when you are alive. So it is a real realm. Even when I say it's an illusion, this is still real. We still have to exist within it. We are here for a reason, to experience emotions, to experience sensations. However, we can take any advantage we can to have better control over our experience as we hear. And the way you gain a better control over your experience while you're here is to remember where you come from. Because the truth is, when you remember where you come from, so your mind, your mental state is more focused on these things that you can control, these things that remind you, these things that if you hold these within your mind, you will have a better physical experience, because you can't get too lost in an illusion or you're going to be suffering too much. The 3D, this is a place of suffering. To escape suffering, the best thing you can do is remember where you came from, why you still existing within this. That way you remember that you are mortal. You're not fearing death. You're not afraid of death because you understand you are immortal. You come from more than this. This is also how you get to heaven on earth, right? Through remembrance, through love, being in the present. You see, when you thinking so much, you really just in the 4D, you're in the mind. And sometimes you got to ask yourself, what am I thinking about? Now, there's nothing wrong with thinking, right? Because thinking is how you do introspection. Introspection is very important. This is how you get to the point where you remember who you are. You get back to truth and all possibilities. But you got to get to a point where you're able to separate actually living from thinking. Thinking is a good tool for you to do introspection and to plan out your life. However, you're not truly living if you're just caught up in a mental realm the whole time. So that's why the 3D is important. So I hope I explained that well enough, because I am going to move on. I don't want to stay here for too long. So right here, if you a male, look over here. If you a woman, look over here. All right. I just want to make sure I, include both sexes in this. So this is basically how your body operates. All right. Within the physical and the spiritual realm. And they all exist at the same time. Both of these realms exist at the same time within your body. You have an energetic body and you have a physical body, obviously. So physical body, right? These are your two eyes right here. All right. Then within that, we have our first eye. People call it the third eye, but it's really our first eye. Why is it first? Because the spiritual realm came first before the physical realm. This is the way we take in stimulation, right? Part of it. We still do have our other senses, but eyes is usually one of the main things we use to take in stimulation to our mind, our consciousness. So this is us, right? This is you, technically. This is you right here. So all of this is, all you are, is a mixture between your physical body and your spiritual body. Your physical body is the two eyes. That's the 3D. So this is why if you just so focused on what you're seeing around you, right? If you're just taking in so much from what we seeing around us in social media and the eyes, and we think that this is all lit and this is flesh and bones and everything, this is all lit. If we have no connections to our spiritual self, we reside strictly within our physical body, right? And this is what can cause suffering, disease, put us in a state of real illusion, because we're not remembering where we came from. It's not even that you remember it, because you have emotions. So it's there, but you ignoring it. Emotions essentially come from your spiritual body. That is your energetic body. Now it's connected through your physical body, through your nervous system, right? Which can regulate your emotions. But that whole part aside of you, right, that's dealing with emotions that can come in and leave out of nowhere, that's energy. All right, that energy exists within the spiritual realm and the higher dimensions within the universe, but it all trickles down to the physical world, obviously, because all dimensions, all realms exist at the same time. Yes, you are basically your physical body mixed with your spiritual body. Your spiritual body harbors your energy centers, right? AKA your chakras, which are real and very important, as well as your third eye. All right, why did I choose this eye? Why did I choose the illustration? Because, hey, listen, this is you. All right, this is how you look. So listen, this is you. All right, cool. Boom. So yeah, it harbors your first eye as well as, so your first eye basically can see what you cannot see, but it cannot see, it just feels. It knows. It's your intuition. That's your first eye. All right, then you got all your chakra centers, which helps keep your emotional state in balance, which helps keep your mind in balance and remembrance and truth, honestly. And that exists within a 5D, obviously. So this is you. You exist within both of these realms at the same time, as well as the 4D, and I'm gonna get to that in the next slide. But I just want you to keep in mind that even while you're here right now existing in the physical world, you exist within the spiritual realm at the same exact time. And the idea with spirituality is to get you to remember even and connect deeper with your spiritual side. Why? Because your spiritual side brings you back to truth. The more you're able to connect with your spiritual side, the better of a physical experience you're going to have, right? Because you're not so caught up in lower frequencies, right? You start to realize how to control your natural abilities, your natural powers. You understand that you can be within these vibrations of joy, love, compassion, safety, and more. These are things that you just remember that you already always had a birthright tied to these emotions. You don't need to do anything in order to feel this way. This is what your internal world is filled of. The outer world tells you that you need to do things to achieve. A spiritual world reminds you that you are already these things without even having to do anything. It's really about just what you choose to hold within your inner world. So abundance, right? Abundance does not exist in the outer world, right? It appears in the outer world. The more stuff you have, abundance, right? But you can have a lot of stuff and still be in a lack mindset if you're thinking about everything that you don't have. However, abundance is just a state of being. Abundance says, I have a lot. I am everything, right? I am all. So you can be that within your inner world right now, just by remembering that you are the most important thing that's walking this planet. You are more important than any material, anything that you can. All of these materials, all of these things here, right? They they have no meaning if you don't assign it to it, right? They have no meaning unless what you assign to it. So these do not control you, we control it. So these things are not abundant. We are abundant. We give meaning to the things that surround us. We give meaning to life. And the way I like to really put this is who you think God cares more about, you or this or a car or a house? Obviously, God cares more about you. You have connection to God. If you pull it back all the layers, you are God. But technically right now, you are not. We're going to get to what you are right now. Now that we understand that you are the mixture of your spiritual and your physical body, you exist on all different realms and dimensions, so you can engage with your spiritual body whenever. And by engaging with your spiritual body, you just remember that you control your inner world, right? And that you have a birthright to all of these different frequencies, these higher frequencies of remembrance, right? So you don't need to try to get or do or achieve anything. You just remember that you already are. So you stop trying to heal so much, right? You stop trying to project outwards on what you need to feel a certain way, and you realize I can just feel that right now because I am that. You stop giving away your power. Now we're going to go into the fourth dimension. This is your mental body, right? Your inner verse. So whatever you hold in your mind becomes true. If you hold just the third dimension in your mind, right? All of this stuff that you're seeing with these two eyes, right? If you only focused on these two eyes, right? That's what you're bringing into your fourth dimension. That's what you're bringing into your inner world. Your inner world exists. Right? That is your universe, your inner universe. You can separate your inner universe from the outside world, from the things that you see. But when you only pulling in external stimuli from your third dimension and you believing that this is all that is here, that's when your inner verse is stuck within a 3D. I hope I explained that well enough. I believe I did. Like, that's why I said that this is just an energetic bridge, right? This is just the fourth dimension is just residing within your own universe, innerverse, your thoughts, belief, imagination, perceptions. So it's all about the thoughts and the beliefs that you hold. That's what the fourth dimension is about. That is what your mental body is about. We want to really harp more on the third and the fifth dimension, right? This is just a tether. The fourth dimension is just a tether to the lower and the higher dimensions. So we want to focus more on the fifth dimension, right? Why do we want to focus more on the fifth dimension? Because it's fueled by truth. If you focus more on the fifth dimension, which is fueled by truth, and you can harbor in more of these higher frequencies, you're going to have a more peaceful experience here. Why? Because you're not letting the outer world control how you feel. You are taking control over your inner world and letting your inner world project to your outer world. You got to ask yourself, which is more real, like your reality, the fifth dimension or the third dimension? For most of us, it's our third dimension, right? We say the third dimension is reality. That's more real. However, when you do that, you basically saying that this is truth and that this is illusion. When you do that, you have less control over your reality. The whole thing with spirituality is to have more control over your reality by remembering where you came from and remembering what is an illusion and what is truth. So if you let your outer world control you, do you really have control? By control you, I mean control your mind. When you so residing in the 3D, right? The illusions, right? That I need to do, get, and be and achieve lower frequencies. You're dealing with all of these fear of death, fear, period, worry, trying so much, anger, attachments. Not to say that you can't want things and you can't go after things. That's not the point here. Like, we still reside within the third dimension. We want to live more from our inner world, basically, and project that to our outer world. Because the outer world it's only so much we have control over within this. But the inner world, you have full control over this. Now, obviously, some things that happen in the outer world, they are going to loop and project into your inner world, right? Something happens to you, you get in a car crash, whatever, that's going to affect your inner world. But we want to limit how much the outer world affects our inner world. That way we able to have a more peaceful experience. And by the way, the more peaceful experience that you have, now you're vibrating on more peaceful thoughts. Those more peaceful thoughts generate a higher frequency. And the thing is, when you operate from a higher frequency and have different thoughts, that allows you to build a better outside world. So it's whatever you hold in your inner world that creates your outer world, technically. But if you let the outer world control your inner world and then project back into your outer world, you are at mercy to whatever it is that's going around you. And that's what we don't want to do, right? We want to take back control over our minds, our innerverse, our 4D, right? Which is why you can't keep focusing on the 3D too much. Understand the importance, but understand that you need to have your innerverse more rooted in the frequency of the 5D, more the concepts of your spiritual self. this is what you can control. You can control being in these states of being, and this is what you want to do. If you want to have a more peaceful, more aligned, energetic body, it does a lot for your brain when you in a frequency of love. It does a lot for your brain when you in a frequency of safety and peace and joy and acceptance. And you can give these all to yourself through your power of thoughts, through remembrance. And that's why the 5D is so important. I got this pointed at your third eye, obviously, because your third eye resides within the 5D. These two eyes here reside within the 3D. So this is why it's important for you to feel these things, right? Not to look for them, but to feel them. You have to feel them, and that's how you use your first eye. You have to feel. Your first eye can't really see the same way that these eyes can see, but it does see. But the more you start to engage with your emotions, the more you start to build your emotional maturity, the more you're going to be able to use your third eye to basically change your frequency at will, change what you believe at will. All right. So that's your mental body. The 4D, that's your energetic bridge. It's your inner verse. We all have an inner verse. We have an inner universe that resides in this larger universe. So you want to have a better control over your universe. Don't have your universe residing within the 3D, because you don't have control over that. It's a lot that you don't have control over within the 3D. Right? It's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in the 3D that if you let that, seep into your inner world too much, right, and control your mind, then you're just gonna be a victim of whatever's going on around you. We don't want to do that. We want to have control. To have control, we need to bring ourselves back. We need to bring our inner verse more aligned with the 5D, like holding on concepts within a 5D. Right? We want to reside more within a 5D, within our inner verse. That's truth. That's all possibilities. That's bring yourself back to safety, love, joy, remembering that you are already, like, say, I am already. Whatever it is that I am that already. I don't need to do, to get, achieve whatever that this physical world to make you think that you need to do in order to be these things. All right. You don't have to achieve anything to feel love. Right. And we think we do. Now, it's important for you, obviously, to still do the things that you know you want to do, because they will make you feel more confident. They will make you feel, because you know you should do these things. That's why they're going to make you feel more confident and put you in higher states of joy and stuff, and compassion and things like that, because you know you should do them. But they not so much, don't tie your emotions so much to the things that you do. Not too much. Your thoughts, right? Your thoughts is very important when we're dealing with the innerverse, because that's how you move from the 3D to the 5D. It's the thoughts that you hold, right? It's the truths that you hold within your thoughts. This is also how you astral travel, right? You astral traveling from the 3D to the 5D, or to whatever other space or channel of frequency that you want to be in. Thoughts and mind frames, thought forms and mental bubbles of thoughts that hold within this. It's a lot that go on within, these different realms, right? It's a lot that goes on within a 4D, right? Different thought forms. That's why we got so many different, beliefs and religions on what God is, and our thoughts. They astral travel to so many different groups of thought forms and beliefs. And when I explain to you this 5D, right, this one is not so much of just a false belief that people create. And even though it's no such thing as a false belief if you got multiple people that believe in it, because you can believe in whatever you want. But I want to tell you that this one is one of the most truest ones that you could possibly believe in. The way you travel through different dimensions, the way you travel through different frequencies from a fear state to a more loving and safe state, is through your thoughts. It's by how you use your thoughts. All right. And that's how you astral travel. When you astral travel, you change the whole frequency of your body. So that's why the fourth dimension is an energetic bridge, but it's so important for you to understand how to reside more on a 5D, so it can change the frequency in your body rather than relying on a 3D, where you don't have control over the stimuli that's coming in and you letting that change your inner world. So now that you understand the 3D, the 5D, the 4D, how they all align together, right? And now I want to explain to you, most people allow their outside world, they project from their outside world into their inner world, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to be taking in too much from your outside world and letting that dictate what your inner world looks like, what you believe, right? The thoughts that you hold. That's what most people do, and that's what you don't want to do. This is what causes the most suffering. This is what causes the most dis-ease within the mind, right? Because you don't have control over the frequency that you own. It's just whatever is going on around you, especially if you're looking at social media. Yeah, you're just going to be taking in a lot of stuff that you don't need to be taking in, right? And then it's going to just basically mess up your whole inner world. Your inner world gonna be jumbled around, and you don't have control over your emotions. You so bothered, basically. You so bothered by everything that's coming in. You so sensitive to everything that's coming into you. You know, and there's nothing wrong with being sensitive, but it's about controlling. It's about controlling your sensitivity. This is the way you want it to be. You want to be residing more in your inner world, right? Your inner world is more important. What you believe, right? What you believe about yourself, about the world, the thoughts that you hold is more important than the outside world, right? And you want to project your inner world, right? You want to build such a strong inner world that's based off of the principles of the 5D. Good, higher frequency thought forms and beliefs and perceptions of the world, right? It's all about your perception, how you perceiving things. You want to perceive things from a higher state of being, not down here at the bottom of the mountain, but at the top of the mountain. That way you able to see all of the BS. When you reside more on the 5D, you able to see all of the BS within a 3D. You don't fall for the illusions as much. You don't fall for the manipulation from other people, right? Or entities, whatever it is. You want to project from your inner world, right? Cultivate a better inner world that resides within the concepts of the 5D, your higher self, your spiritual self, higher frequencies, truth. You want that to be your main source of projection, your inner world. You want to project that into your outside world, right? This is the other way where you basically, your inner world is not rooted within the 5D, right? You basically just, your inner world is rooted within the 3D, right? You're taking all of this stuff from the outside world and you're making that your inner world. You don't want to do that because you're not in control of yourself at that point, right? You too bothered. We want to be unbothered. To be unbothered, we need to reside more within our inner world. Now, obviously, you're still going to be taking in some stuff from your outside world, but you want to use this little part right here. You want to funnel that, right? So you want to try to limit how much stuff is getting through to your inner world. You want to limit how many opinions and thought, like how many other people opinions and thoughts and stuff is getting to your actual inner world, right? That you internalizing. You're still not going to be able to like completely get rid of. Like, you're still going to have bad days. Sure, you're still going to have stuff that happens to you where you're going to get angry and upset, but at a certain point, you got to remember to let that all go, right? And just remember to just continue to project from your inner world, your own inner state of being, what you can control. This is what you can control. Like, you can control your inner state of being way more than you can control the outside world. So this is why this spirituality is so important. Remembrance is so important. I hope you understand that concept. Don't do this, do that. So this is how I like to see us. We got the universe here, right? The whole entire thing is the universe. Even above that is God created the universe. All right, cool. We got the physical realm. All right, this exists within everything that you see, earth, all the other but celestial bodies that exist within it that you can see with your two eyes. Less density forms, all right? Then within that, you got the soul, right? This is basically you, right? I know I got you right here, but this is you too. This is you, and this is you. The soul harbors your mind. It basically harbors your whole entire body, not just your mind, but your mind, your body, all right, all of that you are, your identity, that is your soul, right? And your soul exists within this physical realm. Our spiritual self does not exist within a physical realm, right? Our spiritual self exists within a universe somewhere. This is our higher self. This is where you go back to once you leave from here, because the physical realm expires. Your spiritual self, the spiritual realm, is immortal, is energy, it never dies. So you not really your soul, you really your spirit. Consciousness is actually technically who you are right now. This person that's paying attention to this video, you are consciousness. You actually not your body, right? You're not your mind. You are consciousness. It's so interesting because it's like consciousness is basically the tether between your spirit and your soul, right? So it's like your spirit is broadcasting into your body. Bruce Lipton, he a biologist that was able to connect how the cells operate tied into quantum physics. He explained how it's like our body is like a TV, right? And it has antennas, which means that we can take in frequencies, right, from outside of us based on the channel that we switch to. What he's saying is that our spirit is a station and it broadcasts down into our soul. All right, our specific body has a specific frequency or channel that is made for our individual spirit. So when you're born here, right, you're born here with the energetic signature that your specific spirit tethered down into. Consciousness, right, technically right now is who you are. You are the consciousness in between your spirit and your soul. So you are experiencing through your spirit what it's like to be an actual living entity in this physical realm. Now, you still might believe that this is your body and everything, because technically it is. All of these things are you. You are your soul, you are consciousness, you are spirit. But if we take it all back, right, you are really just your spirit. But right now, what you experiencing right now with your eyes and being able to experience having a body, being able to experience thoughts in your mind, you are consciousness, but you are able to control the soul through your spirit. So the consciousness is the medium that your spirit uses to tie yourself, to tie you to this soul, to tie you to this body. You are like basically puppeteering yourself into this body, right? But you're very conscious of everything going on. All right. I hope I explained that well enough, because the reason why you're not just the soul of this body is because what happens when you go to sleep? You still have dreams, right? But you're not here. So you still here, but you're not here. You're not above the surface. Your consciousness travels all through the realm. So your consciousness actually takes information back up to your spirit. Your spirit is here to gather information and have an experience. So it chose to come to this specific physical realm. That lets you know, hey, I am consciousness. But you are not consciousness. Consciousness is just a tool that your spirit uses to interact with these other realms. Technically, you are your spirit, but consciousness is a tool that your spirit uses. I hope I explained that well enough. Yeah, just keep all of this in mind, right? You know, it's not like we're going to be perfect at this, but the more you can, this is why meditation is important, because it's like it takes you out of the 3D and it takes you back to stillness. When you're back in stillness within your mind, right? When you're back in stillness, you can really like get back into your own inner verse and see what's lodged up in there. Like you can really start to put yourself into the reality of the 5D more than just being in the 3D. But if you keep just going and going and going and just taking in everything from your outer world, you're not giving yourself a second to get back centered, you're going to be messing up your own inner world and you're not going to be as in control. So if you want to be somebody that's like unfuckwittable, unbothered, you can't keep residing within this 3D. All right. You got to cultivate your own inner world. Understand that your soul, right? This is your inner verse. It's separate from this physical realm. So you have your own inner verse. You know, this is your 4D essentially, who you are. And we got a big, larger outer verse. Imagine this is a circle and this is the universe. All right, you got your own smaller universe here. Right. And this really exists within your mind. This is why the 4D isn't important. Hopefully you understand all of that. Leave a like or comment or subscribe, whatever. And I'll see you in the next video.